Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to the darkest content on the platform. In front of you, you can see the very simple instructions for how I'm going to be doing this. We have a pick 'em up and play category, a simple enough category, and a learning curve category. Basically, I'm going to be sorting these guys. It's actually going to be 2-2-2, just because it kind of works out like that. But I do want to say that you should definitely choose a play style that you want to play, right? Don't not play anything in the learning curve category just because I say it's a little harder. Play the game how you want to play, especially if you're new. You want these first dungeons to be really enjoyable. You don't want to have a bad time and just kind of get that sour taste in your mouth. Anyways, if you're seeing this, please leave a like and make sure that we get this to as many new players as possible so they know what class they want to go into the game with. So let's start off in the learning curve category, and the first person I have here is the wizard. Okay, now I'll be the first to tell you that it's not that difficult to chain lightning fireball 1v3 a whole squad, right? What I will say though is that wizard definitely has probably the biggest learning curve in the whole game, and that is through, when you're playing wizard, you really have to look at what spells do you want to use, when to use those spells, how many of those spells you have. So you have to keep up with not using all of your spells right in the first room. You have really slow interaction speed. It's really easy to fireball your teammates, which has kind of become a meme in the community. And all in all, wizard is a incredibly powerful class that definitely takes a little bit of game knowledge to really start ramping up with. I actually played wizard first. Wizard was the first character I ever played, and I did not have a good first probably 5 to 10 dungeons. I had a couple kills here and there because, again, clicking fireball is not hard, but I probably had just as many team kills on my brother and my friend. So for just general upkeep and knowledge that you just have to have, I would definitely say wizard's probably the hardest character to play, but probably one of the strongest as well. Next up in the learning curve category, this was kind of a toss-up for me. I almost said the cleric, but I definitely want to go with the barbarian. And the reason Barbarian is going to be here, one, is because, in my opinion, Barbarian's not really the strongest class, but that doesn't mean that it's a hard class to play, right? The reason why Barbarian is going to be here is because you are going to be relying purely on combat PvP skills. If you're cleric, you have stuff to help you. You can buff, you can heal, you have other utilities to kind of help you out. If you're fighter, you have access to a lot of stuff. You just have more utility and kind of things around you that are going to help you be successful in your fights. Barbarian, on the other hand, has a big boy weapon. He does big boy damage, and you are generally relying on your own individual personal skill at melee combat. And I agree that does seem simple enough, right? But combat in this game can tend to be slightly clunky, and Barbarian swings, does a lot of damage, but if you whiff 1 or 2 attacks, you are gone. Fighter has better ways to enter combat because he can use a crossbow. Cleric has buffs and heals to kind of help him out in combat. Barbarian just kind of doesn't have the extra abilities to help him out in fights, and you are going to be kind of swiftly kicked to the side if you don't really understand the basics of melee. Moving on to the simple enough category, like I said, I almost had the cleric and learning curve category, but I'm going to move them in the simple enough category because, again, you just have that extra utility, as well as the fact that nobody is really going to be mad if you play cleric, right? You play wizard, your teammate's going to be like, he's going to fireball me in the back. You play barbarian, he's going to rush in and die off the bat. Rogue, he's gonna beat invis and just let us die and then clean up the fight, right? But if you play cleric, nobody's really gonna be mad. Cleric is a enabler. If you have a good cleric and a good fighter, you don't even really need a third person. That fighter can go 1v3 purely off of heals and cleric buffs. The cleric definitely doesn't fall into the pick 'em up and play category though, because healing is very situational. You've got to know when to heal, and he does still fall into that clunky melee combat category that you just need to get a grip of before you can really start taking over games. Next up in the simple enough category, we're going to go to fighter. Now, fighter just has access to so much. Fighter can use almost every weapon in the game, including a crossbow, which gives him range and is a very good initiation to a fight, right? When you step into that fight, launch the crossbow at somebody before you go in every time. No reason not to. The fighter can wear almost every armor in the game as well, so you have access to lots of weapons, lots of armor, crossbow, and that's just kind of going to give you more in dungeons. I don't really know the best way to explain it, but you're gonna have access to so much gear you find in chests. You will almost never have base gear as a fighter. You will always be wearing something blue, something green, something purple. You can use any weapon, so you're gonna have access to finding weapons that are comfortable to you. You're going to be able to go through the catalog of options and settle on something that's going to be easier. I do get that using every weapon isn't pick 'em up and play though, right? Because you have to be a little experimental with fighter. You've got to figure out how you want to go into fights. And once you get into the fight, you are a barbarian, right? The difference is that you just have access to a little bit more. And I really do think that makes the fighter simple enough and easy enough and beginner friendly enough, because it's going to make dungeons more interesting. You get to always be looting stuff, and that's incredibly fun. You kill somebody, you'll probably always find something that you can put on. As well as in the shops, you're always going to have stuff that you can buy that's going to, give you a little boost. After probably like 5 to 10 dungeons, you should almost never be entering a game as fighter with stock gear, because you'll have access to and even though that does give him that really beginner friendly edge, he has nothing compared to these last two cheese masters right here. These guys are definitely the pick 'em up and play category, and we're going to start by talking about the rogue. Now, rogue is a character I actually didn't play myself. I played wizard, I played barbarian, I played cleric, I played ranger. I did not play fighter, I did not play rogue. There is a reason that rogue had the highest kills. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I think the rogue class had the most kills out of the entire playtest. For solo play, team play too, you can be fine in team play, but for solo play, rogue is the cheesiest, easiest class to get kills with. And I'm not trying to discredit rogues who are disgusting at the game and getting 5-6 kills in a dungeon, right? But I will say that a lot of rogue gameplay can kind of boil down to invising in a corner and then stabbing somebody in the back. If you do it fast enough, you can stab 2 people in the back. He has movement speed, he has fast interaction speed. He is an absolute menace, really. There's nothing more terrifying than hearing a footstep and turning around and just seeing a rogue. Because if he's close enough to you, you know you're dead. You know that you are dead, especially if you are ranger or wizard. You're gone. There's almost nothing you can do. His melee combat is as simple as stab, 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 run away. Not very complicated. I guess positioning is probably the biggest quote unquote learning curve you'll have to learn with rogue, is timing and positioning, which I guess can probably be a little difficult for some people. But I think anybody who kind of just plays the game for longer than a day will pick up on it really fast. When to attack, when not to attack, when to stab somebody in the back, when not to stab somebody in the back, when to go invis, when to run away, right? Basic survival instincts, basically. Super easy to play. If you're just getting into the game and you want to have a lot of fun and just stab a lot of people and play really ratty, rogue is probably that guy. Again, I didn't play rogue, but I've seen a lot of rogue gameplay. Lastly, on the pick 'em up and play category, I wouldn't say he's easier than rogue, but he's just the last one I'm talking about, is the ranger. So the ranger excels at everything PvE. As a ranger, you will almost never have a problem with any of the basic enemies, any of the basic mobs. You'll have just having access to the range that the ranger has is kind of nutty in itself, in the fact that I've seen so many people complain about it. Just headshots do a lot of damage, body shots do as much damage as they need to kill. The ranger has fast interaction speed. He spawns with a campfire, he spawns with traps, which if you get caught in a trap, you are as good as dead. You just throw a trap on the other side of a door, somebody walks through it, shoot them a couple times, they're gonna die. I guess the pointing and aiming part of ranger could be a little difficult if you're really new to PC games. Outside of that, he is definitely extremely simple. He has access to some of the best perks in the game, and you really can't go wrong with any of them. He has a perk that just gives you increased sound, hearing. You can just hear footsteps like 2 rooms away, which is incredibly useful. You'll always know where people are, and no one will ever sneak up on you. He has a perk that lets him shoot 3 arrows really fast. He has a perk that just heals. It's just a heal, just a free heal. I think you get like 3 of them per game. Yeah, Ranger was my main, so I may be slightly biased, but I don't think anybody will really disagree with me that Ranger's probably really easy to play. But if you guys do have, you know, any problems or any disagreements with this list, please let me know in the comments down below, and do it civilly, please. Don't be coming for my throat. But yeah, guys, that's all we've got for today. If you're a new player, you should definitely jump in and give this a try. It's really fun. No matter what you play, I'm sure you're gonna have a good time. So yeah, guys, that's all the time I have for this video. I'll see you in the next one, and I'll see you guys February 6th at 6 a.m. my time, which is when the game comes out. I will be playing a lot. I'll be going for leaderboards. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to have tons of videos coming out for you guys. If you have any video suggestions, leave them below. See ya.